Welcome back to Zombie SquadCAST, and here with me is a old triple OG veteran of Zombie Squad, of partnerships with Dead on Pictures, Bass Lab, music videos from back maybe 12 years ago, 2008. The most infamous rapper from the DMV, ScotteeLP. Glad to have you on. For those of you watching, if you're familiar with our stuff on Dead on Pictures, there's a number of music videos I did with ScotteeLP. Who You Callin', Something Wicked, Let the Cross Fade It, a whole slew of music videos I did with Scotty. And Scott also sent me a whole bunch of tracks to use to score, Zombie Squad, Below the Rim, a bunch of the web series that we have out here. So me and Scotty went to high school together, college together, a lot of business ventures, a lot of artistic ventures. So ScotteeLP out in Atlanta, Georgia right now. Why don't you tell everybody what you've been up to, who you are, reintroduce yourself as far as 2020 goes, reintroduce yourself, tell us what you do, who you are, and what's happening.
Yeah, appreciate it. Glenn and I go way back, like you said, over 20 years now. So I've known this guy. We've done quite a few things together. Now I've been not suited up, but basically suited up working for Big Brother, now Warner Media. So I work in the Sports Central field, support NBA TV, E-League, UEFA, WNBA, NCAA, pretty much a lot of sports that come through the old Turner still come through Turner Sports. And that's the group I'm with now. Before that, when I first got down here to Atlanta about 6 years ago, I started with the Post group. So I was supporting Post editorial and compositors, animators, and the systems they work on. But now with this whole COVID thing, I've kind of turned into a remote worker like most people. I'm fortunate enough to be able to telecommute. So a lot of the work I'm doing is just from the computer at home. There's no sports obviously going on, so I'm staying busy just maintaining systems, building new systems, updating our documentation. There's a lot of work to do, a lot of catch-up work to do, so that's basically what's keeping me busy, and that's professionally. Personally, I got 3 kids, I got a wife, 2 cats and a dog, doing the daddy, daycare thing sometimes at home.
Hell yeah.
But, Mama Bear's basically taken on, she's doing homeschooling for the kids, and we found out this past week that the remainder of the school year is going to be closed. So we're just hunkering down, doing what everybody else is doing, trying to be safe, trying to be smart, and watching the stock market just basically piss my money away. But besides that, man, life is good. And, keep on keeping on, man. That's where I'm at. So good to be here.
So you said the kids are now getting homeschooled. Were they homeschooled before, or they were going to public school, private school, something?
They were going to public school down here.
Okay.
And
so now they're jumping on to the homeschool. Is it the online school with?
It's not necessarily homeschool. It's more like online work that comes from the teacher, and the parents are really working with the kids at home.
Yeah, so that's
work still coming from the school. Luckily down here they've got Chromebooks for all the kids. So right. These kids are learning how to type. They're doing presentations. My third grader is all over Google Drive and Google Docs. It's incredible. So
your oldest is in 3rd grade, you said?
3rd grade, yeah. I got a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Yeah, so Melissa, my wife, she's a 3rd grade teacher, and yeah, that's what she tells me. All her students had to at some point pick up their Google Chromebooks, take them home. My wife is still on maternity leave, but she's got a lot of her colleagues, her substitute teacher, calling her, asking for tech advice, and then she turns around and starts asking me tech advice to give to her sub, or to give to like her other fellow teachers. Like, how do I use Zoom? How do I use?
Have you turned it back? Have you turned it off and back on again?
I always start with that. I always start with that. So she's dealing. She doesn't have to deal with it directly because she's on maternity leave, so she's off. thank God, because
Mhm.
she even is like, I'd be struggling with this. And it's been a bit of a headache because you got a lot of teachers that are 60, 70 years old. You got a lot of teachers that are 25, 35 years old. So some get it, some don't. But it's not like they can like stand over their shoulder and help them. Everybody's at home. So, trying to get my mom to like fix her web camera so that she can FaceTime or not FaceTime, but Google Hangouts or Zoom in with
Yeah.
me and the kid. We can't see her. So she can only see us because it's just, some people are technical savvy, some people aren't. And it can be frustrating at times. But I mean, at least the kids have you two to like, guide them in the right direction with the Google Chromebooks and whatnot.
I think of what we would do as kids, 30 years ago. What would we be up to? Not using Chromebooks, that's for damn sure.
Did we have Cartoon Network at the time?
I don't know if Cartoon Network was around 30 years ago, but I think it reared its head in the 90s, late 90s, I want to say. I could be wrong.
If we were kids.
But, I mean, it
TV.
would be a total different scenario, I think. I think more people would be outside, less people would be inside.
Like
There's
disobeying.
less to watch. Oh, yeah. No, I think there'd be more people not following the recommendations.
Because yeah, you raise a good point, and I've brought it up on this show numerous times before. I mean, luckily it's 2020. We have Netflix, we got YouTube, we have pads and tablets and
high-speed
laptops
internet.
and high-speed internet. I mean, not to mention, even if you didn't have internet, I'm sure there's still, the video games that are on the system. There are movies of the files of the movies that are on the system. A bunch of stuff that you still have on your phone or on your laptop saved to it that you could still read, that you could still watch. Maybe. I mean, I still have a lot of those old files back when we used to buy movies off iTunes. Like, that's old tech now. When we used to buy and download product from iTunes and save it to the device. And that's all backed up on old devices and old laptops that I still have. Like, I dumped it to backup drives. And so not to promote illegal downloading, but I know there's a lot of people that might be doing a lot of illegal downloading, and it's all saved to backup drives as well. And like, those guys are the smart ones, because you might not have freaking high-speed internet. That shit might go down because everybody's in the house. High-speed internet now. Xfinity and Fios have been sending out emails left and right. Hey, we're here to make sure that this, that, and the other thing is going to maintain this, that, and the other thing. And because, with one second, the wife and the baby upstairs. So, they want to make sure that that they're keeping up with how it's going to be a 2,000% uppage in usage as opposed to what it was 3-4 months ago. It just quadrupled, if not quintupled or sextupled or octupled or whatever. And so, like, there's times the internet just goes out. Like, I have not had the internet go out in this new house. We bought this house in September, and I put Wi-Fi in this joint in October. We moved in November. No problems with Wi-Fi all throughout October until like March 15th. We had the internet go out twice already. Wow. And we have like all the brand new gear in this house. So I know for a fact.
What speeds do you have there?
I think it's like 100 down, 50 up. It's fast. It might be 50-50. I don't know.
I figured you guys would have 1 gig come through there by now, man. I'm fortunate enough to have it down here where I'm at, and I'm southwest of Atlanta by 28 miles. And they ran it down here because Highway 85 is a big, it's a main vein for traffic coming up from the south. Down and down.
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I really don't. I mean, I could go onto my Xfinity account and look. I mean,
but still, I mean,
I'm sure it's higher than that, because we got like All right, so it's one down and 500 up. It's one down, 500 up.
1 gig down.
1 gig down, 500 megabytes up.
Man,
it's all right.
I was gonna say Comcast is capping you on the upload. What's up with that? Oh, they're Comcast. That's what they do.
I don't know. I don't know. I would figure it was the other way around, but.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about you because when all this started going down, I was like, Glenn is one of those. He's one of those parents now that this whole thing happening with coronavirus is one of the pinnacle things that will probably happen during this century,
Mm-hmm.
and you had a child during all that. I mean, that's a wild thing.
Yeah.
And it's scary, but at the same time, it's exciting. It's new and exciting. It's life happening, man. It's all those emotions wrapped into one, man. It's what you want. And the thing is that I see a lot of people kind of around the neighborhood, man, somewhat listening, somewhat following the rules. I hear different people, someone listens, someone following the rules. I don't know, man. Like for me, I can only trust what they're telling us, and if they're wanting us to do certain things, it's probably serious enough to consider it. That's how I look at it.
I mean,
but I'm not completely just locked down to the house. I don't have to drive into work.
Listen, listen. I'm not a flat earther.
But
I'm not a flat earther, and I'm not like a global warming denier. So I'm not really into like the conspiracies where. I mean, dude,
there's some interesting ones out there. You heard about the 5G one.
I mean, there's whatever.
It's curious, but at the same time,
I'm not gonna say 100% this, that, and the other thing. I mean, right now, me being in the National Guard, I'm gonna be kind of careful about what I say about who and what not. So I'm gonna I'm always willing to play devil's advocate, but I'm not gonna just be like, oh, f this or f that or this person or that person, because still right now I'm trying to collect that pension in another 12 years. So and actually, we can jump on National Guard a little bit because there's been a little bit of action out here, but not so much. But I'm going to listen to the government. I have no choice, first off, because I'm a gig worker. I'm a freelancer. I'm an independent contractor. I'm a gig worker. And so there ain't no fucking gig. So there's really no reason for me to go outside right now. I got a shitload of indie projects and passion projects that I'm working on, a number of scripts, 2 web series to edit. Might as well knock out this podcast while I'm at it, kind of jump into the hype and kind of like, tell people's stories and try to enlighten other people out there that might be watching this. I doubt anybody is, but it doesn't hurt to try. But I have no reason to go outside except for take walks with the wife and kid. I really don't. Or maybe go for a 2-mile run. And I'm kind of in a secluded little cul-de-sac kind of block where I go do a 2-mile run. I'm back inside. I haven't seen anybody. So
you take a couple of rides through the neighborhood in the Jeep, popping in first gear. Got the kids in the back. No seatbelts, you know what I mean? Not that I condone that, but we're just basically just cruising.
You're the only ones on the fucking road, so.
I mean, other people got golf carts. I don't have a golf cart, but I got a Jeep Wrangler. I take the top off and and all that, and then basically it's cruise time. So we did that, but besides that, it's really just, man, just getting stuff around the house. I got a honey-do list just like every other husband does. So I'm about to paint kids' bathrooms.
Bro, I mean, at least you got a kid.
Back to work.
At least you got
playing 3 different condenser coils, in the last 2 weeks. I mean, shit like that, catching up on things. And one of the things I was telling my wife, I said, look, it's almost as if things had to hit pause, like the whole world had to hit pause for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
almost like we were just going too fast. We were working too hard or something.
Yeah.
Stop, wait, back up a minute. Let's catch up and see where we're at. Unfortunately, it has to be under these conditions, but there are positive silver linings here and that I'm trying to focus on. But I've got, look, I've got elderly parents and older parents. People are at risk.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody personally that's gotten infected. There was somebody, that my brother was telling me a story about that works at his office. There was somebody at my office, and it's all over the place, man. So that's the whole point about during these times, you just gotta listen to these recommendations. I don't know how hard it is. It's like, the hell's wrong with people?
Yeah.
But not to say I'm not going to go to the store or I'm not going to, go take care of the things that need to be taken care of.
Yeah. I mean, luckily you got an 8-year-old, even a 5-year-old can like kind of help with stuff. But
Yeah. I got a 9-year-old. I got a
9-year-old. Sorry,
and,
9-year-old.
and she's and let me tell you, between 8 and 9, that's like a she's really in a preteen stage now.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I know, right?
It's something. But they're all good kids, man. They're all listening. They're doing what they need to. They're busy as hell. We're all busy as hell doing something. I don't understand people that say they're bored. Like, I mean, if you're bored, then you must not have that much to do, because
Yeah, but I mean, like,
we're busy over here.
binge watching stuff can only take you so far. You know, I've got a couple passion projects, and so I'll come downstairs, and I try to work out, time shifts and like, come downstairs and work on this for a couple hours and go upstairs and hang out. And the wife is getting kind of lonely and getting a little bored. And but I can see that. I can agree with, only so many Bravo shows, Lifetime movies, Netflix originals that you can binge watch until it's like, I got to fucking go outside and actually touch some people. Go get a drink with people. There's only so much drinking I can do in the basement. I actually have to go out and like put hands on people and dap them up and drink with people in a loud, noisy bar. Like, I've never wanted to be at a loud, noisy bar so bad. Before I was like, no, before I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna edit, hang out with the wife, go to the gym, work out. Now I want to go to a bar and get hammered with friends. It's like, fuck, we got to get out of this.
Well, it's that absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of thing.
Yeah.
I believe. You take it away and you can't do it. I mean, that's why when all of this kind of wraps up, it's going to be amazing how much money is spent, how much activity there is. I mean, I'm hoping the stock market comes back too. But I mean, it's how many babies are going to be born 9-10 months from now.
Well, we better start investing in Procter and Gamble.
Hey, look, how many people are going to get divorced?
Campers. I wish you could invest in law offices. Or legal. I wish you could invest in like lawyer firms.
Saul Goodman funds.
Divorces and babies.
Sure,
bro.
I mean, taxes.
So, I mean, we pretty much kind of delved into my second point of our conversation, is that if you want to delve in deeper into like how you've been impacted, like is there cabin fever going on with you? Is it or more in depth? The wife's hanging on, having a good time. Kids are doing good. They're staying motivated. You obviously sound motivated. I mean, like, if you want to go a little bit more in depth about how you've been impacted by this.
Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, the impact really is, it's that social interaction that you get with people.
Mm-hmm.
I know I was just talking with one of my coworkers yesterday about it. When you don't have that interaction, you're so used to having that pattern and you don't really take note of it. When you don't have that interaction, you find yourself going, damn, let me give him a call, man. I usually talk to him for about 15 minutes every day, at work, at least 15, 20 minutes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
it's things like that. The social interaction, it's it's some of the uncertainty too, you know, what is going to happen, you know, and you know, is there a chance to be furloughed or laid off? And some people
Right.
have already been laid off, a lot of them in you know, service industry. But at the same time, the uncertainty is scary, man. And when you think about having kids and something like this, um, let alone, you know, even people you're taking care of that are, you know, that have weakened immune systems or that are elderly and naturally have weaker immune systems. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that really makes you wonder. We try to talk to, you know, my grandmother as much as possible. I've got one living grandparent left. My wife has one living grandparent left. My parents are still alive. Her parents are still alive. But, you know, they all have to be careful. And we're not around them, right? So we're down here in Georgia. And so the other impact for us is really like, you know, we can't maybe have sort of a comfort of, well, you know, if something serious did happen and we did have to violate quarantine and leave, you know, we'd be close to family.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
good.
that's a hell of a drive for us. You know, so that's one of those things to where when I put my survival pack on and all the kids and the wife put their survival pack on, where are we going, right? Probably not making it back to Baltimore.
Right.
So those are the kind of things I think about personally, but otherwise, I'm just staying optimistic, man. Like I said, trying to stay busy. I mean, just like anybody else, I'm going to go out and cut loose and just kind of have that interaction. Go to a barbecue, drink some beer, do some cornhole or whatever. Well, there's too much uncertainty, man. You know, and if you risk it, you risk it.
Yeah.
And that's on you. You know, I mean, if you're going to take that risk, that's your choice.
But see, it's not just as simple as like, you know, going out there and risking getting a flu or getting a cold. I mean, like we have very few resources or knowledge of this thing, and it's spreading
Right.
rapidly, and so taking that risk puts others at risk. It's almost detrimental to everyone around you taking that risk. It's like, you know, you want to you as a motorcyclist, you want to ride your motorcycle without a helmet. You're really the only one at risk with that, because whether you're riding without a helmet or not, you getting in an accident is caused by something else, caused by other factors. You wearing the helmet or not is really going to cause the accident, but you not wearing the helmet is more is more risk to you individually, solo.
It's a seatbelt theory, man. If you don't wear the seatbelt, that's all, man.
You can still drive great,
sure.
But if someone else hits you head on, or if you lose control and you hit a tree, you're going to go through that. You're going to go through that windshield. Now, life
expectancy decreases dramatically, but that's on you.
But that's on you. Now, you go out, you start driving around. You're driving a motorcycle, but while you're riding a motorcycle, you're fucking juggling chainsaws and hand grenades, and loaded guns. You're juggling them. Now you're a risk at everybody else around you, and that's what it's like going out and touching people and partying. All these kids going to spring break. They didn't want to give up their spring break. Well, they probably just spread the fucking thing crazily.
Well, that's a good question.
And that's why they said that this fucking weekend was the most important time to stay inside and stay the fuck away from everybody and don't do shit, because it's really at its peak right now, because everybody came home from spring break that refused to not go.
If you were in those kids' shoes, what would you do?
I would have stayed the fuck home.
Would you?
Yes.
Dude, for me, I look back on myself at that age.
If 999,999 people out of 1 million told me you should stay home, I'm not going to be the one fucking guy being like, nah, maybe I'll still go.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. All right, so you know, here's the deal. At that stage in my life, my car was my home. So, you know, it's like I'd probably say fuck it and be like, nah, man, if things are going to shut down, I'm partying my ass off. And of course, later on, when you get older, you're like, what an idiot, right?
Right.
I mean, I think it's easier to say that now because you know the risk. Like, you have things to lose. You know, you got shit that you
Yeah.
don't want gone.
Yeah.
You know, but for a lot of people that are young and they're starting out, man, and they're just trying to break free from their parents or whoever else is wrangling them, it's like they'll take the risk, man. But I mean, it's dumb, but I can't say that I wouldn't be tempted, and I could very well have done the exact same thing as some of these kids said, fuck it.
Right. I mean, it's
You know,
I
I'm
mean,
just being real, dude. Like
yeah,
that,
looking back, like
at that stage of my life, when I was 18, 19 years old, yeah, fuck it. 2 tits in a bucket.
Well, okay. Hey, touche. I mean, I'm pretty sure back then I was like, no, I'm not fucking doing any of this dumb shit. I'm not going.
Glenn, you've always been very responsible.
Well, thank you. I tried.
Been responsible.
I always tried. Yeah.
Way more responsible than, than my ass. For the most part.
Maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe tiny bit. Well, I appreciate that. I guess, moving on, since we've been locked up in here. What did you say?
Well, anyways.
Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. Can't just yada, yada, yada whole podcast.
Yeah,
you can't yada, yada, yada whole podcast. We were talking earlier, Netflix, Hulu, binge watching, streaming, digital media, all that good sort of thing. Has there been a series, a movie, a book, online tutorial, or some sort of deal that you've watched, read, ingested, helped you pass the time, kind of helped you get through it, learned a little bit, kind of advanced or bettered yourself during this shut-in?
I mean, I've watched. There's so much content out there to watch. I'm still watching Better Call Saul. That's one of those things I just keep up with. Westworld, keeping up with it. Love Westworld. Awesome show.
Mm-hmm.
Hunters was good. Watched a few episodes of Hunters.
Okay.
Have not finished it. Watched 3 episodes. That seemed like an awesome series.
That's
really looking forward to something coming out soon. And I've been kind of reading some stories this past the time about the second season of that superhero villain show on Prime. The what's it called? The Boys. Season 2, The Boys.
Okay.
Oh man, what a great show! I highly recommend that to anybody, man. It's very well written, and they got some whiz bang pow eye candy in there, but great characters. I mean, also just trying to stay busy with work, man. Like I said, now more than ever, I have to try and balance the ability for me to work remotely. So I'm currently building a system at work right now. It's a virtual system that we're going to use for documenting basically all of the racked gear and how it's connected and what it's connected to. So I've been reading about that software, been working with that software, and then also learning about programming. I mean, a lot of the things that I do at work too involve scripting. So I'm learning different languages. I'm interested in learning new languages for programming. One of the ones I was looking at recently was Julia. I'm a Bash scripter mainly, but it's things like that, skill sets I'm trying to learn. Maybe learn a new language. Sure, why not learn a new programming language, right? I'm probably not gonna learn Spanish, but I might learn Python or Julia. You know what I mean? Like that's also where my brain's at.
Okay.
But I'm really, I'm telling you, man, like I'm really wondering, with these productions being on hold. I know there's a lot of money getting put out to pay these production companies while they sit on pause, but I wonder if there's going to be like a pause in content at some point because of this. Like in the aftermath, there might be a period of time to where there's not really that much good content out, right? It may be a bunch of regurgitated bullshit or run stuff, you know, for a little bit. I wonder what period of time that'll be, because I think that'll happen too, because nobody's shooting anything.
Right. I mean, I think the days of studios, you know, decades ago, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, studios, even early 2000s, studios kept movies on the shelf. Like, there's movies that were released 4 or 5 years after they were shot and edited, and they were put in the can, so to speak, and they sat on a shelf, and the studio was like, "No, we're not going to release it just yet. You know, not feeling it, blah, 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 blah." And I feel like with an event like this, had coronavirus happened, they still wouldn't have, nobody would be going to the theater to go see them. So maybe straight to TV. Maybe they would all just dump it to like HBO movies. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe that's what we had. Fucking, you know, late 90s, early 2000s, late 2000s, early 2010s, dumping it to Redbox, dumping them straight to on demand, dumping them straight to DVD or digital download, iTunes. And now I don't necessarily see there being, I mean, probably, obviously, there's going to be a pause in production of a lot of shit, obviously. Marvel even announced it. Marvel even announced everything getting postponed 6 to 9 months back. All these release dates. You know, Black Panther's not coming out until like late 2021 now. Black Panther 2. You know, and then all those dates around that. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is fucking, I think, 2022 now. So, the beauty of it is, man, with today's technology, Netflix, Hulu, Prime, YouTube, 17, 18 other fucking, you know, streaming platforms, we have so much content, we'll still be entertained. We'll still have something to watch. I mean, bro, there's so much shit in my watch list just on fucking Netflix. Not even
I think a lot of people are going to go back and watch classics, right? Game of Thrones.
And that's the fucking problem, dude. I'm always on Pluto TV watching 80s Rewind. I've got new shit to watch that I still keep procrastinating on because I'm like, nah, you know what? Tonight I'm in the mood for another 80s movie.
You're like, I haven't beat this dead horse yet. I'm going to watch this just one more time.
I'm gonna go on Shudder and I'm gonna watch the Friday the 13th series franchise for a 13th time. Like, I haven't beaten this fucking dead horse. You're exactly right. When there's, you know, me and the wife right now are watching Schitt's Creek on Netflix. I mean, that's been in my watch list for years. But Schitt's Creek on Netflix with Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, funniest fucking show. That's what we're binge watching right now, and that's been in my watch list forever. I'm 3 seasons behind on Arrow. I can't even remember when I like fell off of Arrow and Flash because I watched that whole Arrowverse stuff on Netflix. And now they have season 8 of Arrow on Netflix. And I'm like, how the fuck am I only halfway through season 6? When the fuck did 7 and 8 come out?
Well, another good show that I got turned on to recently is called F is for Family. That's been out for a few years. I don't know if it's still on or not. I think it's a Netflix show. F is for Family.
Bill Burr's animated
Bill
show.
Burr.
Right? Yeah,
Bill,
yeah.
And I mean, some of that classic 70s stuff is really funny because that crossed over into some of the 80s. I remember being young and having some of these similar situations happen with parents and, you know, awkward moments kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, for some reason, hey, dad's flying off the handle at the guy at the TV store. Okay. You know, that's the kind of shit that happens. You know, you're smoking everywhere. Everybody's smoking. You're smoking. Everybody's smoking.
I remember that. Now, I remember, like, as a kid, my dad's fucking ashtray in the car just like overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
Overflowing. Like,
We
dude,
used to have one.
dump.
We used to have one in the house. You know,
And
one of those fans.
yeah,
Sit there at the couch.
that's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about it now, like smoking in the house, just I don't know.
See, it only took about 30 years, right?
It only took about 30 years. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like one person, you know,
Yeah.
they made it. They started banning it in restaurants. They started banning it in office buildings.
Now,
They
where do
started
where do the smokers hang out? You go out in public places where the
in the
smokers
smoke
hang
pit.
out.
There's always a smoke pit. There's
Next
still
to
a
the
smoke.
dumpster,
Yeah.
around the back, right? The guy's taking the trash out right next to where the designated smoking area is.
No,
I got an idea. We're going to take these smokers from out front, and we're going to put them next to the trash. Well, they did it. They got it done. It worked.
They did it. They did it. Those fucking anti-smoking people.
Fucking Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner.
Fucking Rob Reiner.
I don't know. I don't know how he's involved. I don't know how you're bringing him involved.
South Park episode about it.
Huh?
The South Park episode about it.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
It's been a while. It's probably like season 15 or something.
You know, I've never gotten into South Park.
Fail.
Never, bro. Never. I think I saw the movie, the R-rated movie, the uncensored R-rated movie.
All right, so that was good. That was like 99 or 2000, somewhere in there, I think.
I never fucking got into the show, except I've seen like the most infamous best parts, like the Tom Cruise shit, the Isaac Hayes, the Scientology shit, the Snooki Smush Mush shit.
That's a good one.
Like they're like the Allah, the Allah. Oh man, dude.
Warcraft?
Huh?
Butter's bottom bitch.
What?
Butter's bottom bitch.
I don't know.
You don't know that one?
No.
Classic. Okay.
No.
The ring episode, Mickey Mouse shows up. No. Classic.
Yeah, I think I saw the Mickey Mouse. Like I've seen these
Jonas
scenes,
Brothers?
but see, no, not Jonas Brothers.
Like,
I'm YouTube educated on South Park pop culture.
Okay. You got those snackables. That's what they call those.
Yeah, snackables.
I
got the little tidbits, little bites, little snack, bite-sized. The bite-sized bits.
South Parks, yeah.
Bite-sized South Parks, yeah.
I see what you're doing there.
No,
yeah.
Man. Like Family Guy was always my shit, dude. Family Guy. I think that's it, man. Like I never fucking got into Simpsons, really. Maybe a little bit. I think maybe the first 2 seasons, and they kind of just fell off, man.
I like Family Guy. I kind of outgrew Family Guy.
Family Guy, dude. Family Guy is so.
American Dad is my favorite.
Yeah.
Of Seth MacFarlane.
Okay.
American Dad is the shit. You know, the Cleveland Show's funny. Family Guy's funny. American Dad's fucking awesome. And plus, you know, Ted. I mean, come on, fucking Ted. Okay, all right.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe this is the best opportunity for me to watch 20 seasons of South Park. I don't know.
I think it's like 23 seasons.
Never mind. I'm not doing that.
This last season was pretty fucking hilarious too, because you know they're selling weed legally, and Stan's dad started a farm.
But they're still fucking 12 years old somehow.
8.
Or 8, yeah. No. There's no growth.
Oh, man, hey, Simpsons did it. The kids don't get older.
I know, but I only watched like the first couple seasons. I didn't stick with that. Now, I did stick with Family Guy, even though nobody grew up in that. Like, the fucking baby's still a goddamn baby, but.
Well, what you need to get on, if you're not on it already, is Rick and Morty. If you ain't on it, man, Rick and Morty is definitely where it's at.
Yep.
Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
I think it was Dan Harmon created a new show I wanted to check out. I don't know when it's coming out now, but he's the co-creator of Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty is the smartest sci-fi property Animation or not, live action or not, documentary or not, mockumentary or not, series, movie, book, comic, animation or live action narrative. Rick and Morty is the smartest, whether it's a comedy or whether it's serious. It is the most intelligent sci-fi property out there today. That is one of the best shows I've ever fucking seen as far as like interstellar, dimensional, multiverse, sci-fi. Dude, like there's so many different philosophical fucking bullshit levels you could talk about for hours when it comes to Rick and Morty.
When I think of Rick and Morty, I think of Back to the Future meets The Fringe. Okay.
On acid.
Okay.
On acid, like
no acid, because I mean,
true.
Did you watch The Fringe?
The Fox show, Fringe, yeah.
Yeah, did you watch it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
dude. I mean, that guy was tripping every other episode. He was
definitely a microdoser. He was definitely a fucking microdoser. Yeah,
but you know, like between those two shows, that's the beauty of how they have fun with the science fiction and the portals and all of the infinite realities of your infinite selves and how you think about that even being possible. It's like your brain doesn't even think about that being possible. You just laugh because it's funny. But there's some really intelligent stuff behind what you're talking about. I mean, it's very high level fucking like string theory, quantum theory kind of stuff. Even though they're not like right now formulas, but the theories that they're making fun of and talking about are serious theories, and it's fucking hilarious, man.
Rick and Morty is.
Rick and Morty, yeah.
Right.
I mean, the Fringe was too, but the Fringe was. They couldn't have the same level of fun because it wasn't a cartoon, you know. Because it's a cartoon, you have, you know.
Well, Josh Jackson made it fun, I think.
Yeah.
Pacey from Dawson.
He was
a
good character.
He was like the sarcastic like this is my dad. Well, what in the actual fuck is going on
between him and between his dad, right? Between Dr. Bishop and Peter and the back and forth they had. I mean, it was just a very well written show. I was surprised it was on Fox, you know.
Oh, and
I didn't watch it when it was on. I binged it, you know, years later.
Now I just thought about this. Because of another show I was watching, even older. This fucking show, speaking of what is possible when it comes to fringe science, they accidentally brought a character back to life in that show because they decided not to air an episode, which was supposed to be like the second episode of a season. Let's say it was season 3. I can't, because there was 4 seasons that show lasted.
Yep.
And that Hispanic.
No, there was 5. There was 5.
The 5th season was like short.
At the end of the 5th season, it was kind of weak. I mean, the 5th season was kind of weak.
But it was also short.
It was shorter. It was a couple episodes shorter than the other.
No. Like every season was like maybe 20 episodes. Let's just say 15 to 20.
23 episodes.
The fifth was like exactly half the amount.
Yeah.
All the other seasons were.
I think
it was a short cutoff. Like we're going to end it. We're going to end it properly. We're going to close out questions. We're going to close out fan service.
In December.
But we got to go.
They did their Christmas episode and said, we're fucking done.
But here's the thing. So I think it was season 3. You know that Hispanic dude that worked in the FBI office with the lady, Olivia something or Octavia, whatever her name was.
Yep, I know who you're talking about.
So the show's going on. Halfway through season 3, he dies.
Right.
Then a couple episodes later, he's back. No explanation given because they decided not to air what should have been the second episode of season 3 until like episode 17 of season 3.
So when you go back and watch it, the order that it's in is not how they aired it.
For some reason, they decided not to air that episode when it was supposed to be, and then they aired it later. Like they fucked. It's on the Wikipedia.
I never knew that.
You can look it up. Like I don't even want to look it up, but because I might as well because I can screen share, but
Who's the program director here? What the fuck's going on?
that's a good point. Who is the program director? You know, I don't fucking feel like program director's lazy as shit. It's fucking 11:30 p.m. They decided not to air the goddamn episode when it was supposed to be. And they've done that with a lot of series, and a lot of networks have done that before with, like, remember that old show SWAT? They just shot shit. But that because most of the time
I didn't watch it.
Most of the times, like the Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk, every episode was standalone. Oh, here's another example. That's what made me think of it. I'm also binge watching Batman the Animated Series. Remember in '92, Batman the Animated Series?
I do. Great series.
That's one of the best fucking. So
classic.
I think I've mentioned Batman the Animated Series on every episode of Zombie SquadCAST since the coronavirus, because that's what I've been binge watching. So the DVD release is not in the order that WB released it. And I don't know why. And there's even a bunch of episodes with commentary, with the producers and directors' commentaries on it. And they never fucking talk about why. But the DVD release is not in the same order. So when I watched the premiere fucking episode of Batman the Animated Series, and do you remember what the very first episode, who he was chasing after in the very first episode of Batman the Animated Series?
I'm trying to think. I saw it not that long ago.
Back in '92, it
wasn't the Joker.
Nope.
It was an obscure villain.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't obscure. The very first episode that was released in '92, episode 1, season 1 of Batman the Animated Series, was Catwoman. He was dealing with Catwoman. He was dealing with Catwoman. On the DVD, that's like episode 20 of season 1. And I'm like, what in the fuck's going on here? And I don't know why they do that.
That's the thing. So then, yeah, the very first episode that I watched recently is not the actual episode that they aired. Yeah,
they're just like throwing shit out. Now with with Fringe, it was a cliffhanger show. You couldn't have done it with Lost. You could not have done that with Battlestar Galactica, and you really couldn't have done that with Fringe, because in a sense, most times, if not, Fringe, every episode with Fringe was a standalone episode. It was like this case, they travel to another dimension, or like they turn a fucking cow into a bird, and then they close out the case after the end of every episode. But every third episode of Fringe was the subplot, was the long plot, was the long play, as opposed to the short play. Every episode standalone, and that was another beauty of The Unit. The show The Unit, I think it was on NBC or CBS. Every episode was standalone. Every episode was a great fucking standalone story. It wasn't a soap. Then they started getting soapy, and every episode started delving into the next episode, and it turned into like this cliffhanger, started taking away from the show. Fringe was like every third episode was a cliffhanger ep. And then the 6th episode would answer unanswered questions from the 3rd ep, but episode 1, 2, 4, 5 could have been standalone. But you still have to have like this grand scheme of things, because some fucking dude that was shot in the fucking face, episode 5, is now alive, episode 10, and then back to being dead, episode 11, and then for the rest of the series. It's like, why the fuck did you do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm bothered.
Either way, they got paid.
It was a good show. And I'm not taking away from the show. Really cool.
Now look, another one I might catch up with now that you're talking about Fringe. Talking about Fringe. Dexter, bro. I've seen Dexter twice.
The serial killer Dexter?
Yeah. Dexter, man, was a good fucking show.
See, right? That's another one.
It's one of those shows though that now that I've seen it twice all the way through, after I get through season 4, I'm kind of done with it. Like it loses interest, because it has this incredible story curve that it peaks at at the end of season 4, and then season 5 kind of keeps you here for a minute, and then you just slowly fall down the story curve, and then they just keep the show going, right? But I remember how fucking amazing the first 4 seasons of that show was, man. That was one of the first shows that I watched when I got down here to Georgia, when I was down here living while Michelle was pregnant with our second kid up in Maryland, because I moved down here first and then got situated. And Dexter was one of those shows that I watched.
Yeah, I watched all of Dexter, and you know, I liked the show. I enjoyed the show. My biggest beef was fucking John Lithgow. I think was his best, and spoiler alert, but John Lithgow was his best antagonist, I think.
Mm-hmm.
John Lithgow was a straight up fucking baddie, but it just seemed to me that Jimmy Smits, John Lithgow, that arsonist lady, it was just the same. They were just repeating the same fucking story arc. A good serial killer has to take down a bad serial killer. A good serial killer has to take down a bad serial killer. And it was like, what started piquing my interest is how he had to start breaking a little bit of his own rules to cover his own tracks of being a serial killer.
Well, that's part of his story development, right?
That's
when you
part
look
of
at
his
him,
story.
he's stayed safe so long. He's been doing the same thing for so long, and he stayed safe. But now he's at a point to where his life's changing, and he's breaking his rules.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time he breaks his rules, shit goes down, shit goes south, more people die. And I just found it very interesting, man. You know, and his sister, the actress that played his sister, I can't remember her name is, man. She was so fucking crazy, just hardcore, you know, exciting character that I enjoyed the show for her too, you know, just as much as Dexter, because she was crazy as shit and
Jennifer Carpenter.
Cursed all a lot. Yeah, Carpenter.
Jennifer Carpenter as freaking
Deborah, I think her name was.
Deborah Morgan, yeah. Julie Benz. I mean, dude, Julie Benz goes back, bro.
She goes back. Remember New York?
I didn't fucking realize that, dude.
New York
Dude, she goes. Julie Benz, his girlfriend, goes back even before that. No, you're thinking of.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the other woman. Sorry.
You're thinking of Lauren. You're thinking of Lauren Velez.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the cop. Yeah.
New York Undercover. She goes back, but I'm talking about Julie Benz goes back to like 80s comedies, dude. Like
what?
Like Heather. I
didn't ever look her up.
Like Heather Graham. She goes back like Heather Graham goes back, dude.
Oh, like License to Drive.
Maybe. Okay, I was wrong about that.
Okay.
As Good as It Gets. She was the one. She was the receptionist. As Good as It Gets. She was in. I must have been thinking of Kelly Preston. She was in Black Sheep, and she was in some horror movies. So what the fuck was I thinking? Oh, that's what I was thinking of. She was in Shriek, If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th. That's what I was thinking of. So there was two scripts. So there was two spoof horror movies out there. There was a Scary Movie. So you made that movie, Scary Movie. The Wayans brothers made this movie called Scary Movie. And the original title was Scream If You Know What Jason and Freddy Did With Each Other Last Halloween. Because there was the whole underlining gay innuendo throughout with who was it? Sean Wayans was
Sean and Marlon. It's like, don't be a menace while drinking your juice in the hood.
So they had a similar title for that. Scream If You Know What Jason and Freddy Did Together Last Halloween, or whatever the fuck. But they just decided to change up. I'm gonna get you, sucker. Don't drink your juice in the hood. Blah 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 blah. Don't be a menace while drinking your juice in the hood. And they just decided to call it Scary Movie. Well, there was this there was like this BB movie with Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Coolio, Tom Arnold, and Julie Benz. And it was called Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th. And it wasn't as good. It wasn't as funny as Scary Movie, but that's where I remember her from.
Huh.
Like, I know her from something. And then, of course,
I have to look it up now. I've never heard of it.
You might be. I'm sure you'll be able to find it on Netflix or Hulu or Prime or Shudder or fucking
or any of the number of free streaming channels that exist.
Or Pluto or Tubi or Crackle. Or YouTube. They're probably showing that shit for free on YouTube right now.
Just speaking of YouTube, one of the shows I'm really looking forward to is
that's what it was.
Of, Cobra Kai, buddy.
IMDb TV. Dude, do you remember in college when I was studying, when you and I were in the EMF and I was studying film, you were studying audio, and we were talking about IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to know something about a movie, IMDb was the site, and it was so fucking raw. And now they got their own fucking streaming service, bro. Fucking, it's incredible. I feel lucky that there are a couple of little things like that, like Google, YouTube, and IMDb, that we remember this shit. We remember the rise and fall of MySpace.
Oh yes, I'm sure my account's still out there.
I'm sure it is, with some of those.
They probably didn't deactivate it just so they could have active
with some of those early fucking college films that you and I worked on.
Oh yeah, man. You know,
what was the fucking Cut Back and Misplaced and that's
Rob Fix and Misplaced.
That's all I can think of right now. But I think I put fucking Who You Calling up there on MySpace, but no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Who You Calling was after MySpace. That was when the Facebook boys were hot and heavy.
Facebook and YouTube. It was it was a YouTube video that I would just put on Facebook. Well,
Vimeo was kind of getting going then.
Never used it. And who the fuck is even using Vimeo?
Well, I mean, there's Vimeo is still doing stuff, man. They are tied in with a lot of different streaming services. You can stream through Vimeo with different products. So they've partnered with a couple of companies to do more service, provide more service, not just post up on their site. You know, you can do live feeds through Vimeo.
Yeah, well, who the fuck wants to? No offense to Vimeo, but I'm sorry. YouTube, I mean, YouTube was like the start and the end, and
you know, well, it's all about what the user wants, man.
It's all about what the user and what the user,
right.
Yeah.
It's the user experience. Everybody's going after the user.
The user can be the producer. The user can be the viewer. The user can be both. You're right. The user experience. So
yeah, I mean, it's really about, I think, connecting not just the technology, right, but also to connect people with other people that are like-minded, that want to tell their own story or to tell someone else's story, right? And it's all about telling these stories to feel connected.
Absolutely.
And feel understood and feel like you're part of a community and you're part of something larger than just yourself. And we're lucky right now that that's going on, if you think about it, because like I said, when we were kids, our internet speed was abysmal, right? You know, and if we were really young, if we were young children and not just teenagers, at least we had dial-up when we were teenagers. But you know, if we were young children, man, dude, maybe you had a Nintendo. You know, if Nintendo was out about that time. Otherwise, you know, your ass was outside playing basketball or football, whatever.
Skateboarding.
I
was either skateboarding, playing baseball, or I was fucking addicted to Nintendo. Man. So it got to a point my mom had to unplug that shit and be like, you better get the fuck out of here.
Blades of Steel, okay, double dribble.
Yeah. I liked all the fucking sci-fi shit, all the fake shit. The non-sports stuff, like the Marios and the Zeldas and the Metal Gears and the
Blastmaster,
Metroid, yeah, all that shit, man. So
here's what's funny. I got an open emulator. OpenEMU is an emulator I use on my Mac. I've got a Mac Mini connected to my TV upstairs, and I've got about 700 Nintendo games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it doesn't even total a gig.
I know.
That's pretty wild, man.
Yep.
It's pretty fucking wild. You can't even get, I mean, you can't even get much media except audio these days, right?
I got
for that. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, you can't even get audio for that.
I mean, you can. I mean, there's still audio, but I mean, if you're sending FLAC files around, I mean, FLAC's a big file, you know. But
Flax,
still,
yeah.
you know, I mean, you're getting
I'm getting a lot of flack for using FLAC,
get a
but
lot of
I mean
fucking FLAC, okay?
but FLAC's better. I'm
FLAC
getting a
is.
lot of flack for FLAC, but FLAC's better. Let's be honest. I mean, there's like 8 channels or 12
You
channels from
might give you
FLAC.
some FLAC for it, but it's FLAC. It's not
You know,
MP3.
yeah, it's not MP3. It's FLAC.
Okay, right? It's not M4A. Okay,
No, it's not.
it's not that bullshit. Okay?
No. Yeah, I splurged. I got that digital NES that looks just like the old joint. It's got
All the games loaded on it.
but it's got a USB for the controllers, but you can unplug it and it can be a wireless controller. And it's got all the fucking games. Nope.
Right.
Start fucking fingering the goddamn NES. Nah, man, it's just like,
yeah, I kind of missed that part though.
it's just USB. I do not miss that fucking part.
I missed that part. That was part of the experience.
Because if I was quarantined with my fucking wife and my 1 month baby, and I'm trying to fucking play Super Mario, and and the baby's crying, and the wife's like, babe, can you get this shit to work? And I'm sitting here, it's gonna be goddamn Jack Torrance all over again, dude. It's gonna be goddamn Jack Torrance.
Yeah, but if that's what you had and there wasn't anything better available, you were living large, buddy.
Dude, but back then, if all you had was 5 fucking games and you can't go to Toys R Us to get a couple more new joints, you're beating Super Mario Brothers over and over. Dude, thank God. I mean, I wish there was no coronavirus. I wish there was no COVID. I wish there was no quarantine. But thank God we got what we have today, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God we have what we have today, dude. Because I've got an NES with no fucking cartridges, and I bought the Pro bundle by the time it came out about a year. I got it like a year ago. I got like 300 games on there. I never even knew fucking NES had back then. And it's just
a lot of the games when I go through the list, I'm like, never heard of. Probably
what the fuck is
90% of these games I never heard of.
I've got like Japanese bootleg shit that they took like the engine of Super Mario Brothers 1 and they just put some like random bunny. They just painted over mushrooms and turtles and Mario with like bunnies and flowers and calling it a whole different fucking game. And you can clearly see it's fucking Super Mario Brothers.
It's the same game. Yeah.
It's the same game.
Somebody fucking ripped the game, basically.
Like, what in the fuck is this shit? Oh, and I can save this shit now? Ooh, I can save Super Mario Brothers 2? Oh, shit. Wait a minute. What was the one that it was definitely Super Mario Brothers 1. Super Mario Brothers 2, I could breeze through that shit. I knew where all the warps was. Super Mario Brothers 1 and 3 was like a nightmare, dude. You turn that shit off, you're fucked.
No. 3 wasn't bad. You could save on 3.
No, you could not save on 3.
Yeah, you could save and continue on 3.
I don't think you could save and continue on 3.
Yeah.
Nah, bro.
Because 3 had, you could have the whistles.
Those helped you.
Because you had warps in 1 and 2, and you had whistles.
You had whistles. 3. You had whistles that were essentially your warps.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. You had whistles. God damn it.
It always used to piss me off when I'd play with Luigi on Super Mario 2 because it was like he jumped obnoxiously fucking far and high and like would float and then drop fast.
Super Mario Brothers 3. Let me see.
By the way, I gotta wrap this up here, Glenn, soon, dude.
So do I. All right. Well, you know what? Forget about it. We'll just go with couldn't save.
Pick that up on the next one.
Could not save on Super Mario Brothers 3. That's what we're gonna do. But what would you say is your moving on to our next point? What would you say your next agenda, your next goal or set of goals or plans for the next month or two would be? Say, still quarantined.
Next month or two, work off the list that I have to do just for stuff around the house. I mean, that's something I really would like to get done because a lot of this stuff has been sitting. But I also got to think about work, right? So some of the other things I'm thinking about doing while under quarantine is making sure the family's handled at home, but also that I'm still staying busy at work. So some of the things that I'm going to be doing remotely at work, it's going to be involved in building this new system and getting a bunch of data into it, and then see what I can script, see what I can pull from it. So over the next month, I'm probably going to be focused on that and doing other tidbits of things that my boss throws at me or my director throws our way that we need to start working on or planning. But otherwise, main focus on the kids, man. I think that the kids don't quite, I think, understand the gravity yet. Michaela does, being 9, but the younger two are just kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to school, you know, and there's this thing called coronavirus. But I just want to make sure that they're at least staying up with their studies. We're not falling off at the end of the school year. So then the next year for everybody is going to be a rough start. Also thinking about that too, because, I mean, you know, look, you give these kids idle time, man, and most of them are not going to use it wisely, right? So
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't. I'd be playing Super Mario. So would you, right? You know, so since we have this technology, let's stay busy, because staying busy, you're not going to get bored. And is what my message would be to people. It's like, look, if you feel bored, find a project, start a new hobby, learn a new skill. You know, YouTube's perfect for that. YouTube University will, I mean, fuck, dude. YouTube in the 90s would have been an awesome thing. There's so much that you can learn. So that's what I would say. In the next month, that's probably where I'm going to be at. Watching training videos, watching videos of my kids on the work they're doing, watching my own videos to learn new skills for what I'm working on. And then tightening the fucking house up, man, you know, sanitizing the mail.
Sanitizing the mail, yeah, no shit. Got Clorox wiping groceries, Clorox wiping.
Clorox wiping groceries, you know, yeah, that kind of stuff. That's what I'm gonna be doing over the next month.
Clorox wiping Amazon boxes. Like what in the actual fuck is going on? Yeah, I mean, clearly you're blessed with the opportunity to be able to work from home, to remote work, and so you're not furloughed.
At this time, no.
God bless.
God
That's
bless.
awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Passion projects, any music production? I mean, my audience knows that you're a musician, you're a rapper, a hip hop artist. Come on, I mean, any
for that kind of stuff? I mean, I would love to say that I would sit down and make something, and I probably will. But it's hard to say that I can dedicate that time to it right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's really the difficult of it, is that work-life balance. So right now, I mean, having kids, man, keeps you busy. So not to say I can't come down here and squirrel some time away. I'm squirreling some time away right now, you know, doing the podcast. So there'll be opportunities, but just right now, I'm not really focused on it. But hey, look, inspiration happens at any time. I could be sitting there taking a shit. Okay, I could be outside mowing the grass. I could be anywhere and get inspired, and boom, crack the laptop open, take a couple notes, record something real quick, get an idea, start an idea, and then follow with it.
Hell yeah.
So, you know, that's always going on. I'm always listening to music. If you know, anybody were to look at my data usage, it would be mostly for streaming audio more than anything else. So, hey, I got tons of records I haven't even dove into yet. I've got 2 racks here. So, yeah, even if I got bored, that would be short-lived.
Never
because
bored.
I would be sampling something. I'd be down here until 6 a.m. But it's because of the situation with work, though, man. It's like, you know, I would love to be able to do that, but I also have to think about what Daddy Warnerbucks needs me to be doing right now. You know, and that's one of the things that's also keeping me busy. So,
Absolutely.
like I said, That's really what's going to be going on. Plus, I'm going to try to pick up a book, man. I haven't read a book. Just just a story about something, whatever. It doesn't have to be like a manual on learning something. Mostly the books I pick up, that's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to pick up just some fucking novel, man. I got a Kevin Mitnick book upstairs that I haven't read, about a true life thing too, about his story. So maybe I'll read a little bit about Kevin Mitnick, which is notably like, most recent famous hacker back in the 80s. He was really big and he's still kind of active, but maybe pick up another Hunter S. Thompson book.
Okay.
Who knows?
Hell yeah.
There's an artist out there that I picked up a book a few years ago that I want to read too. That's called the author's name is Solara, and the book is 1111. Kind of some ancient alien type stuff for those that are interested. Solara, Solara. The book's 1111. So yeah, that's probably off the top of the cuff, man. That's probably what I'll be doing while I'm busy, sweating my ass off outside, doing the usual shit, yard work, chores, all the fun things that responsible fucking grown-ups do, I guess.
Hell yeah.
I guess you could argue if I'm a responsible grown-up, but legally that's what I am, I guess.
Hey, man, anybody with 3 daughters, a wife, a couple cats and dogs, you're about as responsible as anybody else on the map, my bro.
I figured I'm not doing too bad. But I got my vices just like anybody else. The hell.
Well, if
life's worth living, man. If you don't feel bad about something, you ain't really living.
Right. I like that. Is that your last point? My fifth point in the show is if you was to close out with one point, one bit of advice, one quick, maybe even one word advice to our viewers, what would that be?
I'd say don't be a dumbass.
Don't be a dumbass. Okay. Perfect.
To reach the spectrum, that's what I'll say. I can't say it with one word, but just don't be a dumbass, man. Stay safe, stay busy. Don't be a fucking dumbass.
Stay safe, stay healthy, stay busy, persistence, but don't be a dumbass.
Don't be a dumbass.
Just think about it. Stop. Think about it.
Wait. Back up.
Think about it. Yeah, man. So, awesome. To close out, to definitely close out now, any socials you want to put out there?
I'm still on the Twitters, man. You can hit me at Twitter. ScotteeLP is ScotteeLP, buddy. So I check that from time to time. I'm not too social out there on the social media thing. But you know what? I'm still there. So hit me up. I'll at least get the message, and then we can connect on a DM or something.
ScotteeLP at ScotteeLP.
I'm in the wires.
Hey, you got it, brother. Well, look, thanks for joining us here on Zombie SquadCAST. For the viewers out there, like, subscribe, share, comment, thumbs up, thumbs down. If you hate it, I don't care. Ring the bell for notifications. Stay tuned for another episode of Zombie SquadCAST, and thanks for checking us out.